Have you ever found yourself longing for true freedom, feeling that something within you desires more? This quest for inner freedom is a universal theme that resonates with many of us, especially in times of anxiety and uncertainty. Imagine living without the limitations and fears that seem to imprison your mind. It's common to feel trapped in an endless cycle of worries and self-judgments, questioning our decisions and letting negativity take over. This state of entrapment can manifest in various ways: constant doubt about our abilities, fear of failure, or the feeling that we are never living up to expectations, be they others or our own. However, it's essential to understand that true freedom is not merely the absence of difficulties or challenges. It resides in how we respond to these challenges, in our ability to observe our thoughts and emotions without being carried away by them. This awareness allows us to distance ourselves from the inner voices that constantly criticize or discourage us. As we practice this observation, we realize that we are much more than our fleeting thoughts or emotions. This journey toward inner freedom invites us to explore the layers of conditioning that shape our perception of ourselves and the world around us. As we progress in this quest, we find the opportunity to rewrite our personal narrative. Instead of defining ourselves by past experiences or limitations imposed by others, we can choose a new perspective on life. Every step in this direction is an affirmation that we are ready to embrace our true essence. Get ready then to embark on a transformative journey where each discovery can reveal a world of peace, self-awareness, and liberation. It's time to break free from the chains that hold us and discover the limitless potential that resides within each of us. After all, inner freedom is a right for all and is within our reach, if we are willing to pursue it with courage and determination. Within each of us there exists an incessant inner voice. This voice, often critical and judgmental, can be one of the biggest obstacles in our quest for inner freedom. It comments on everything: our choices, our body, our social interactions, and even our self-worth. We've all experienced this internal dialogue, which swings between being a source of motivation and a burden that holds us back. This voice often manifests through constant comparisons with others, fueling insecurities and the fear of not being enough. The first step toward true freedom is to recognize that this voice does not define us. By realizing that we are mere listeners to this internal conversation, we can begin to distance ourselves from it, allowing our thoughts to flow without overpowering us. This practice of observation is crucial for creating a space between ourselves and our thoughts, where we can reflect on their origins and the validity of their messages. Imagine yourself in a movie theater, watching the film of your life. You are the protagonist, witnessing the scenes. But you don't need to be each one of them. You are the observer who chooses how to react. This new perspective grants us unexpected freedom, allowing us to question the truth of what this voice says and examine whether its criticisms are valid or just echoes of past insecurities. By adopting the role of observer, we learn to silence self-criticism and cultivate a more compassionate and loving internal dialogue. This shift in perspective is essential for freeing the mind from its chains, allowing us to connect with our true essence, full of potential and worth. In this way, we move closer to an inner peace that has always been within our reach, ready to be discovered as we become more aware and less reactive to the narratives that imprison us. This journey not only transforms our relationship with ourselves, but also allows us to interact with the world in a more authentic and confident way. Throughout life, we accumulate emotions that, if not acknowledged and processed, become invisible weights that we carry without realizing it. Anger, sadness, fear, and even repressed joy act as barriers to true freedom. When faced with negative emotions, it's common to try to suppress, ignore, or escape them, hoping they will disappear. However, this approach intensifies our attachment to them, creating a cycle of resistance that traps us. The key to emotional liberation lies in learning to let go. Letting go means allowing emotions to flow through us, rather than controlling or holding on to them. It's an act of surrender, where we observe our emotions with curiosity, like clouds passing through the sky. Thus we understand that emotions are temporary and do not define our identity. The practice of acceptance and presence helps us to feel these emotions without fear of being overwhelmed by them. By allowing ourselves to feel fully, we create space for the emotional energy to move, freeing us from the chains that bind us. This release not only brings relief but also allows us to live more authentically and connected to our true selves. By releasing emotional bonds, we find a renewed lightness, where each emotion is welcomed as an important part of our human experience, not as a burden. This journey leads us to a state of inner peace, where we embrace life with its ups and downs, recognizing that in the end, we are more than our emotions. Living in the present is one of the most powerful skills we can cultivate in our journey to inner freedom. Yet many of us find ourselves constantly caught in a cycle of thoughts about the past or worries about the future. These distractions keep us away from the beauty and richness of the present moment, making us feel disconnected from the life unfolding before us. The art of living in the now is not just about being physically present, but rather about being mentally and emotionally engaged. When we practice mindfulness, we begin to notice the small details we usually ignore. The aroma of freshly brewed coffee, the whisper of the wind through the trees, the warmth of the sun on our skin. This practice invites us to slow down, take deep breaths, and savor each experience as it is, without the filter of our critical mind. We learn that the present moment is the only space where we can truly act and bring about change. Additionally, by focusing on the now, we become more resilient to difficulties, as we realize that anxiety and stress are often tied to future projections or past regrets. Every time we bring our attention back to the present, we reconnect with the essence of life and our true nature. This practice not only helps us find peace and contentment, but also allows us to live in a more authentic and meaningful way. By embracing the art of living in the now, we discover that every moment is an opportunity for transformation and an invitation to experience life in all its fullness. Thus, each day becomes a new chance to start over, where we have the freedom to choose how to respond to circumstances, and where true happiness and fulfillment can be found. The journey toward inner freedom invites us to expand our consciousness and connect with something much greater than ourselves. As we release the bonds of the mind and emotions, we open up space to realize that we are part of a vast and interconnected universe. This connection with the infinite is not mere abstraction. It manifests in our ability to feel the energy around us, in our intuition and inner wisdom. By freeing ourselves from mental limitations, we realize that our true essence is expansive and limitless. This understanding allows us to live with more courage and authenticity. Connected to the infinite, we face life's challenges without the paralyzing weight of fear. By cultivating this connection, we become more receptive to opportunities, understanding that every experience, positive or negative, is essential in our journey. This perspective encourages us to embrace life with gratitude and love, recognizing that we are in constant growth and learning. Connecting with the infinite is therefore a practice of surrender and letting go. We recognize our true nature as spiritual beings having a human experience. This deep connection provides lasting inner peace and reminds us that we are never alone. We are part of a greater whole, where each person plays a unique and valuable role. By living in alignment with this awareness, we transform not only our own lives but also the world around us, radiating love and light to those around us.